Howdy, my brothers and sisters. This is T-Pain USA, and welcome to another episode of a Really American T-Cast. Folks, it's happened to all of us. We get on YouTube to check out a video of an adorable kitten, or maybe we've heard tell of a dog that can sing the national anthem. Before you know it, we've all descended into the digital abyss of little-known life hacks that'll change everything. So yesterday, after T-Pain's 14th pimple bopping video, he ran into this GQ makeover of Donald Trump. And it got T-Pain to thinking. Donald Trump keeps saying he wants to transform America into a MAGA nation. And if that's the case, maybe we should examine the lives of others that have gone through Trump transformations and see how it turned out for them. It just might be the perfect metaphor. So, like Marjorie Traylor Queen's Jewish space lasers, we need to laser focus our peepers on the top 3 Trump transformations, starting at the top and going straight to the bottom. So let's just jump in with both feet, shall we? Starting us off at number 3 is Dr. Ronny Jackson, or as T-Pain likes to say, the sad ballad of Ronny Jackson. Somebody brought their guitar. Well, as a Navy doctor, Ronny Jackson made it about as far up the ladder as you can make it. A rear admiral. He was brought into the White House medical unit under the George W. Bush administration. But in 2009, President Obama tapped him on the shoulder as his personal physician, and old Ronny was riding high for 8 years. But then came the day that would mark his meteoric fall from decency, when he met this guy. And it was straight downhill from there.
Politico is reporting tonight that the president's embattled White House physician, Ronny Jackson, will not return to his old job as Trump's personal doctor. Now, this comes, of course, after a series of allegations that he drank on the job and gave out pills like candy. Again, allegations, and that he created a toxic work environment. These scandals previously, until last week, did not matter to the president.
But that was only the beginning. Roll the tape.
They allegedly told the committee Jackson engaged in questionable prescribing practices and was called the Candy Man because he would give out prescriptions without the necessary paperwork.
Ronny J. went through 2 Obama administrations without scandal. But in just 2 years under Trump's tutelage, old Captain Candyman managed to discover all his worst impulses, and poor judgment ensued. Let's see more of what happened to Rear Admiral Ronny Jackson, shall we?
Former White House physician Ronny Jackson was quietly demoted from his rank of Rear Admiral after a scathing Department of Defense investigation into allegations of misconduct. Former White House physician and current House Rep Ronny Jackson, Republican of Texas, left the West Wing in 2019 amid a fog of allegations of inappropriate workplace conduct and alcohol abuse while on the job.
Donald Trump transformed Ronny Jackson from Rear Admiral White House physician to disgraced captain to intoxicated rodeo clown. Check this out.
I'm an ER doctor.
Okay, I'm glad you're an ER doctor, but you're not EMS and you're not emergency services.
Dude, those guys work for me. I'm an ER doctor.
Okay.
I went to 4 years of medical school and 4 years of residency.
I'm trying to tell you, when somebody tells you to get back, you get
Nobody
back.
told me to get back.
I did. I had to tell you twice. I had to raise my voice the second time.
You rolled in and you freaking just like, get the out.
Deep down, you know Donald Trump has the greatest appreciation for all the sacrifices Dr. Ronny Jackson made for him. Every illegal prescription, every controlled substance, every mishandled sleeping pill. With all that, you think Donald could at least remember his name.
Dr. Ronny Jackson. Does everyone know Ronny Jackson, congressman from Texas? He was the White House doctor.
There it is. Our first Trump transformation is complete as we sing the last verse of the sad ballad of Ronny Jackson. So let's remember the words from the good book, shall we? Physician, heal thyself. Now, seeing how our first transformation was about a doctor and our second one is about lawyers, you got to ask yourself the question, why would anyone with an advanced degree be stupid enough to hitch their wagons to one of the few fellas in the world savvy enough to bankrupt their own casino? Now, fun fact, con men and scammers, they love to target doctors and lawyers, and for two reasons. Number one, they usually got money, but number two, they always think they're the smartest persons in the room. Fact check, they usually ain't. And these three is no exception. Now, a quick background check. John Eastman, pictured here in his cameo role from Indiana Jones in The Last Fake Elector, is a former professor and former dean of the Chapman University School of Law. Sidney Powell, who's always just one endangered species away from completing her wardrobe, was a former federal prosecutor. And Jenna Ellis, best known for being Rudy Giuliani's personal fart cushion and concierge hair dye specialist, was a former deputy district attorney in Colorado. Now, these three star-crossed lovers found their respective boats irresistibly drawn to the rocks of sedition by Trump's fake elector's siren song. How do you reckon that turned out?
Two Colorado-connected characters on the Trump team have had their lives turned upside down as a result of their actions. There are new indictments this week against former Colorado Christian University professor Jenna Ellis and attorney for the Colorado Republican Party, John Eastman.
This is a crying shame. You can't overthrow one single election without being labeled a felon. Let's see some more.
Breaking news, a judge just ruling former Trump lawyer John Eastman should be disbarred. You'll remember Eastman is one of the key figures at the center of Trump's plot to overturn the 2020 election. In fact, he was known as the architect of the fake electors scheme.
Don't you know these mighty warriors for election integrity weren't intimidated for a single minute? With mighty Trump as their mentor, surely they would go to the wall for dear leader. And like Trump, they would never surrender. Right? Right?
Breaking news, President Donald Trump's lawyer, Sidney Powell, has accepted a plea deal in Atlanta. She's agreed to testify against Trump and 16 others in the Georgia election case.
Thank you, Caitlin. Attorney Jenna Ellis has agreed to a plea deal in the Georgia election interference case.
I believe in and I value election integrity. If I knew then what I know now, I would have declined to represent Donald Trump in these post-election challenges.
So our second transformation is complete. John Eastman will be disbarred. Sidney Powell will be unemployable. And heck, Rudy probably won't even take old Jenna Ellis back. Well, all right, you three, come here, gather around. You may think that Trump cost you everything, but look on the bright side. You all got gold stars by your name. This brings us to numero uno, the number one Trump makeover. Now, T-Pain's going to let you in on a little secret. When T first got on Twitter about 10 years ago, folks used to make fun of the way I talked and such. So T-Pain ventured forth on a little transformation of his own. First thing was to get a new hat and some $5 sunglasses. But then the next logical step was higher education. So after 4 long years of study, T-Pain finally matriculated and got himself a GED. T-Pain was finally bona fide. Now, during his studies, T-Pain had to do a book report on a book called The Picture of Dorian Gray. It was basically about a beautiful, charming young fella that had this portrait of himself hung on his wall at home, and no matter how much pettiness and debauchery he displayed in his own life, he stayed young, while the portrait aged and displayed the haggard mileage of his depraved lifestyle. Now, T-Pain said all that to say this. Real life is the total opposite, and we wear our choices on our faces like a Rand McNally road atlas. And these two members of our number one Trump transformation are no different. Now, despite how you might feel about Matt Gaetz, you'd have to admit he was a fine-looking young fella. That is, until he let the serpent of lies slither his way into his life. Matt's choice of lies and underage social companions must have finally caught up with him. Young Matt must have realized his face was starting to show the telltale signs of the checkered lifestyle he was living, just like that picture of Dorian Gray. So it was time for a retread. But instead of a nip here and a tuck there, Matt opted for the whole Liberace. But you know, the more T-Pain looks at that, he doubts that comparison is accurate. Wait a minute, T's got it. It ain't the full Liberace, it's Liberace's doctor. Now T-Pain has it on good authority that Matt's belly button is now dead even with his nipples. Now it's clear that Matt hates rhinos, but he loves rhinoplasty. Now if you think Matt Gaetz had a tragic transformation, hold on to your antihelical folds, folks. Most folks are surprised to know that Kimberly Guilfoyle was once married to Democrat Governor Gavin Newsom from California. Now, it's quite a shame because you can't help admit she was a very attractive woman. But then she got joined at the hip with the Trump clan. And like the Borg, they slowly began assimilating her one body part at a time. Before you know it, she went from glad to sad to holy crap to OMG. Now, Matt might have got the full Liberace, but Kimberly got the whole Versace. Whew. How's that for a tragic transformation, folks? But this ain't about how people look. It's about how Trump changes everything he comes into contact with. Because trust T-Pain, he will do the same exact thing for America. He'll take our country from this to this, or this to this, or this to, well, you get it. So, the lesson is yours, brothers and sisters. If you give Trump the keys to this country again, rest assured he will transform it into something you won't even recognize. T-Pain out.